And this is another example how together with institute, academia, startup, tech partners, we're creating a whole which is bigger than the sum of its parts.
On this episode of Embedded Insiders, Yaad Oren, Global Head of SAP Research and Innovation and Managing Director of SAP Labs US, joins the podcast to discuss how emerging technologies are influencing enterprise strategy. We also discuss the company's unified cloud ERP platform and investments in next-generation innovation. Next, Ken sits down with Naama BAK, CEO and founder of Understand Tech, to discuss the company's enterprise RAG platform designed to support mass-market customers with enterprise-ready AI. But first, Ken and I recap my recent trip to Fort Worth, Texas to attend NI Connect 2026. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Embedded Insiders podcast. I'm Assistant Managing Editor Tiara Oliver, and I'm joined, as always, with our Editor-in-Chief, Ken Briota.
Hi, Tiara. How are you on this lovely week?
I'm good. I'm back from a short week of travel. Felt longer than it was, but it was good.
Yeah, you were in Texas, is that right?
Yes, I was in Fort Worth. I went back to attend NI Connect. Last year was my first year, so I went back this year, and it was great. It was great being remembered by people and networking and connecting with new people. And yeah, I always enjoy that event. So,
That's awesome. What did you see? What was exciting?
well, they talked about their flagship technology, their, bread and butter, I guess, which is their Nigel AI advisor. And they're kind of just centering the whole event around like this new era of test. And obviously, everyone's talking about AI. And so, of course, they were talking about AI. But I liked how, their keynote and a lot of our discussions were framed around like, yes, we know that AI is big and it's everywhere, but we want to still remember the importance of the engineer. They're very good at saying like, yes, our product has AI, but we want to let you know that this AI is supposed to act as an assistant and a helper, and the engineer is the leader, the main person calling the shots and making the decisions. The AI is just there to help you, with the small stuff.
That's a great philosophy that NI has almost always stuck to in my experience. I think it's the right approach from my point of view anyway. So that's good to hear. I always laugh a little bit when I hear the name of it, Nigel AI. It always makes me think of the old search engine Ask Jeeves. And like
very nerdy.
I mean, Ask Jeeves was a trooper back in the day. That was the premier search engine. And it's so funny because I immediately think of it every time I'm like, Nigel.
It's the name. It's just got a quirky, nerdy name, but I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So anything else? I mean, I know that you wrote and you put up some content about it that folks can check out over on embeddedcomputing.com, but anything you want to direct people to in particular?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, check out the article I wrote. It's brief. The company, on their site will obviously have more, but I mean, I guess the last thing I want to say is that one of my favorite things about this event is that they really put a lot of importance on their customers. Like when they do their keynotes, they invite their customers up there on the stage with them, and it's equally about them as it is about their own technology. So I really love that collaboration. So I would suggest everyone go on, I think their YouTube and their website, they had the keynotes live and recorded on there. So I think it's really cool for, listeners out there to go and check out the keynote specifically to see their customers on stage and watching them, talk back and forth about how they collaborate, how they're helping each other. I think it's a really cool perspective to see.
Yeah, I think that that sort of focus on the application and the tech is actually being used is really important for engineers who are trying to tell the story about a piece of technology. So it's great that they were able to give you some exposure to that stuff. It's sort of what I'm looking forward to seeing in a couple of weeks when I'm out in Taiwan for Computex 2026. I'm going to be meeting with a bunch of folks and hearing some really interesting keynotes, I think. And I'm really hoping to see that same approach. A lot of end user applications and case studies and use cases that are really illustrate how these embedded technologies, especially edge and edge AI tools, are really being put into production at scale and serving their purposes. I think we've reached a maturity level in this, especially with respect to the edge, where although it is still arguably new technology, we need to be seeing these field applications to really get a sense of how it's going to work, how it's going to be used, and how engineers like those listening right now can really leverage it to make their work more efficient and better and easier for them so they can be focusing on new ideas, innovations, and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, and you'll be doing a lot of content there, right?
I'm certainly hoping. The goal is to be recording a bunch of video, and I'm hoping to actually get some podcasting recording too. So we'll see.
Awesome. Yes, we are well away with these podcasts. Like we're in the deep end. So as always, remember we have a lot of podcast content coming, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. So get on track and stay with us.
Absolutely. A lot of good interviews to come on this episode, so don't miss out. And, make sure you pass these to your friends and colleagues so that they get a chance to hear what these experts that Tiara and I have been interviewing have to say.
Now, here's Yaad Oren of SAP Labs US.
So yeah, thank you for joining the Embedded Insiders podcast this week. Before we get into some of the questions I have for you today, do you mind introducing yourself and a bit about your role at SAP Labs?
Sure, thank you for having me. So I have two roles in SAP. The first one, I'm the global head of research and innovation in SAP when we are looking into emerging technologies and how they can be applied to our product line to create new innovative sets of product. Besides this, I'm the managing director of SAP Labs in the US. We have around 20 locations in the US, development labs, and around 6,000 employees when we are focused on building products which are innovative based on cloud and getting the best out of the great talent and ecosystem with the US.
Awesome. Sounds great. Speaking of emerging technologies, how are technologies like voice AI, quantum computing, and robotics beginning to influence enterprise strategy today, in your opinion?
Yeah, so those technologies are moving gradually out of the labs and proof of concepts into real business use case, and we see them more and more deployed and scale. And I think it's kind of create two different type of implication. The first one, there is a lot of different expectation now coming from customer with these emerging technologies. We are seeing that customer expect much more intelligence and simplicity and automation out of their enterprise applications. They're expecting the experience they're getting a little bit in the consumer world, like with ChatGPT and Notebook ML, to get all this hyper personalization and intelligence out of this enterprise application. So we are seeing them more and more embedded in the roadmap and really being applied to derive business value. And the second thing, of course, also is have many implications around the skill set and the change management enterprise needs to do. And we see a lot of training and how the workforce get more and more enabled on technologies like voice AI, robotics, and even quantum.
Awesome. So I've noticed a lot of mention and momentum behind business AI. How would you say that differs from traditional AI, and kind of what does that enable organizations to do differently?
Yeah, so it's very simple. Business AI, unlike regular AI, is pretty much AI being embedded in business processes. And this involves to take a lot of the context and relevant data for business process and put it as part of the AI model building. So you get really impressive out of the box capabilities that can influence your business process, and pretty much it's drive a lot of impact on your productivity and cost reduction with any business transaction you need to do. So business is really about applying the AI into business context, and this is why it's very important to have the right data foundation and have all the right connectivity between the data, so you can create such an outcome immediately with the models. Because if you try to use out-of-the-box models, they're probably going to create some very impressive result, but you don't know if the models eventually will get you the best outcome and ROI for your business application. And of course, you also have many trust consideration that if you don't have the right foundation and the right embedding of AI in business process in a reliable manner, they might be a little bit, like we say, hallucinate or even have some sort of security consideration. So in a nutshell, it's about applying the AI into business context and embed it as part of the business application you're getting out of the box. Also allow customization option to have more business value, but everything should be in reliable and responsible manner.
Awesome. So I kind of want to talk a bit more about what SAP Labs does. Can you tell us a bit about your unified cloud ERP platform and how it helps organizations run end-to-end operations?
Yeah, for sure. So the unified cloud ERP platform, and we also call it the business suite, provide a connected application across all the line of business in a cloud deployment, and of course, with all the innovation we just discussed, provided out of the box, AI and so forth. And there are three values that are very important of why doing this. First and foremost, in order to get this connected ERP platform, like you said, it's much easier to do it in the cloud. Today, if you have on-premise application, I'm sure they're working great and they can get integrated between the warehouse management and the human capital management, all the way to the front office, the CRM, and the supply chain applications. You can integrate them on-premise, but once you have the cloud technologies and cloud qualities, it's much easier to connect them, and the cost and the ROI is much more optimized. In addition to this, to the cost and integration, it's much easier to deploy also new innovation. Here I'm talking as engineering lead. We talk about the labs, and when we deploy new innovation to our customers, it's much easier to deliver them to customers with all the release cycle in a very fast pace when you have a cloud deployment. And also the resilience and customization is much easier to do once you have the ERP platform in the cloud. So if I summarize, when you have the connected ERP platform with the business suite, it's about connecting all the line of business, all the business process, not isolated application or transaction, end-to-end process in the cloud. It offers much better cost and ease of deployment. It allows you to do this integration in a much easier and resilient manner. And also it allows to deploy and for customer to receive the innovation like AI and other functionalities much easier and in real time.
And what are some of the bigger challenges that organizations might face when adopting cloud ERP platforms, specifically with companies trying to modernize their operations?
Yeah, and this is a very good question, because of course migrating into a cloud ERP is not just moving files around. And I think there are three main considerations that customers should take into account. The first of all is the data quality and the level of process customization. When you have ERP system or any enterprise system on premise and you have it for a long time, you're probably going to have a lot of legacy customization and some code which is, let's say, not in the highest quality. And there is a need to do some data cleansing and also to have a really good x-ray about all the customization you do when move to the cloud. Because if you remember the previous question, moving to the cloud offer also a new era of efficiency and cost reduction. So point number one is really to make sure all your data is in the right quality to move it seamlessly, and all your processes are optimized, and you want to move only, let's say, the good materials and not the junk food you have in your system. The second point is, of course, the compliance and security. When you migrate data from multiple resources, there is some requirement, and you want to now take into account how you better defend from cyber threat and have some awareness of regulatory guidelines as well. There are many topics that I'm going to keep it very short, like the sovereignty of data and others. But of course, this is all taken care of as part of an official migration process. But compliance and security is one element that need to take into account. And the last one is, of course, the simplest to understand, is a change management. You need to have organizational championship and sponsorship for them. And you need to also take your employees to this journey. Some employees, are like to stay in a comfort zone and not always embrace innovation and change. It's definitely understandable. It's human nature. But if you show the light at the end of the tunnel and the great value we discussed, the integration, the innovation, the resiliency, the ease of use, the better experience, then the change management is also very streamlined. So the data quality and process customization, the compliance and security, and change management are the three top considerations when you do a cloud migration project.
That's great. I know SAP is also investing in next generation innovation. In your opinion, how do partnerships with, universities and research institutions contribute to your research and development efforts?
Yeah, this is one thing that we are very proud of in SAP, the research collaboration we are doing with university like Stanford here in the Bay Area, and also the University of Munich unit, and many more really contribute to our journey. What we are doing, we are finding the right business problem to solve together with those great researchers. We also have great treasure trove of data that enable us to do great research with these universities, and eventually we apply them. We are very proud that some of our greatest innovation, like the model from SAP called RPT-1, that helped to run AI on tabular data, was created together with the research from Stanford. And this partnership is key to our success, and also enable us to leverage the local talent in the ecosystem. And we are also doing most of the research where we are co-located, which is part of our strategy. I'm sitting 7 minutes away in a bicycle from Stanford right now. Big parts of my team in Germany sits inside the University of Munich as well. We have great collaboration in Berlin with Hasso-Plattner Institute and so forth. And I just came yesterday from Newport Beach office, which is right next to University of California, Irvine, when we do research as well. This is very helpful for us, and I think it's key to success, because you see that now we are in a great era of, let's say, doing research all together. All the innovation from OpenAI, Anthropic, and other came also from Research Institute, Google, and so forth. And SAP is proud to be part of this research led innovation that we are doing. Just a few lines as well, because you mentioned the university is part of a bigger context of ecosystem. We're also working a lot with the other element of ecosystem. I'm just going to name it very quickly, because I think it's all piece of the same puzzle, to have an outside-in perspective for any enterprise to bring the best trend and best talent to innovate. We're also working a lot with technology partner and startup. And one example that last week we announced together with the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, a physical AI task force to drive innovation and research across the stack, across all the companies that are participate, that are in building physical AI robotics. I'm proud to be part of the co-chair of this task force. And this is another example how together with institute, academia, startup, tech partners, we're creating a whole which is bigger than the sum of its parts.
Awesome. Not to be too repetitive, but in a broader sense, I guess, what role do you think academia and industry collaboration will play when shaping the next generation of enterprise technologies?
Yeah, so there are different elements for that. The first one, maybe stating the obvious, the Research Institute is one of the best sources for talent. There are so many discussions around what will be the future workforce and what kind of skill needs to be part of the university, part of the workforce. But what is being currently explored research and applied in those research institutes really create the seeds of where we can find talent that can drive the next transformation in enterprises. Like today already we work with university on what's come after generative AI, a new type of innovation. You mentioned physical AI, you mentioned quantum. So the point number one is, of course, the talent pool. And when you get those engine to the workforce train, if you will, is in these universities. Besides us, we saw, and I'm speaking as a technologist, that we saw that in this era, when we have all this disruption from AI, they came from research and research institutes. And I think that the world learned more how much important it is to drive research and apply it to product. The world was surprised by ChatGPT in 2022. It kind of fell out of the sky and get viral adoption, but it was there in research papers coming from Google all the way in 2018. And we see the same thing today. We see trends that are going to shape the next reality for enterprises, IT, and enterprise business, already be part of research. So it's very important also to get the next big thing. And the connection is super important. I will finish with that because eventually here in the enterprise, we are not a professor with tenure. We're not creating research papers for the sake of research. Of course, we do this as well, but it's all about applying this early enough. So if you're going to have only research without the connection to the industry, without the connection to enterprises, there will be great research out there, but there is not going to be any business value applied for customers, which is very important. So if I summarize, the connection with the research institute is key to us to get the right talent, to get the right differentiation and understand how product can really raise above the noise and find the next big thing, and make sure that this bridge helps to apply anything great that's coming from this university to our product line and eventually meet the customers as something tangible, in addition to the great research work and papers the academia is providing.
Wow, very well said. I guess my last question, looking forward, where do you see SAP, within the next couple of years or even the next decade?
Yeah, so I think that we're going to go into a paradigm shift where customer expectation really became much more AI native. And this is very important because, as I mentioned in the previous question as well, that customer expectations are changing. There is a new generational shift also. There is a new generation getting to the workforce. In 5 years, my kids will get into the workforce. You can say Generation Alpha, that are born into this AI native era and are experiencing this as teenagers in high school and colleges. The point is, it's going to derive a whole different level of expectation of value, automation, hyper-personalization, and so forth. And SAP is investing in different elements where we think, beside our current roadmap, going to be a paradigm shift in the workforce. One of them is, of course, the future of AI. We discuss about it, but just like I was a developer 10 years ago in a narrow AI era, now we're in generative AI era. There is a new era coming of AI that will make what we're seeing today look a little obsolete in 5 years. But beside the AI, we're looking a lot to the future of data. This is a very important point. There's going to be disruption in data platform. How the future AWS, Azure, SAP Data Platform, Databricks, those kind of companies, how they will be look like in around 5 years. We mentioned quantum as well. It's pretty embryonic yet, but we're going to see a lot of applicability to optimization and simulation as well. Physical AI is another thing SAP is very strongly investing. We have many customers also coming to our annual conference next month in Orlando, help to automate warehouse management. So we're going to see a lot of physical AI, not only software AI, and this is a big investment area from SAP as well. And we also invest and we think the hyper-personalization, what you can do with whether immersive glasses or adaptive UI, this new generation going to need a whole different paradigm shift, how they consume software. So I just put a little bit of topics around here: future of AI, data, robotic, quantum, future of user experience. This is some of the area we're looking at, and we heavily invested here. And I invite everyone to come and learn more about what we are doing and how we help to shape together with customer the future of enterprise software.
Awesome. Speaking of learning more, is there anything that I might have missed or anything else you'd like to add, or where can, listeners go to find out more information?
We have an SAP website, a lot of the information on the innovation project we are doing. And we have some of the project there under the business technology platform and under the line of business, but we have a lot of the innovation that we are doing covered in SAP website. But even more simplified manner, We are a few weeks away from Sapphire Orlando, our annual conference where thousands of customers will come, and we're going to release there also an official innovation guide and press release about all the new innovation we are doing, together with all the great demos, and most importantly, what customers are saying and what customers are using. So I will stay tuned for next 3 weeks to get those great information package as well. And also customers and anyone listening, more than free to contact me, and I'm happy to deep dive into any topic and share more details on that.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Yaad, for joining the podcast, and I hope we speak soon and we'll keep updated on what you guys are up to.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunities, and looking forward to talk again.
Now, here's Naama BAK of Understand Tech.
Hello, friends, engineers, and developers. Welcome to another segment of the Embedded Insiders podcast. I am Ken Briota, Editor-in-Chief of Embedded Computing Design, and I am so excited to be here with Naama BAK of Understand Tech, and we're going to talk a little bit about a really cool new platform. But before we do that, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ken, for having me here. Hello, folks.
The pleasure is entirely mine. In case our listeners aren't familiar with you or with the company, can you tell us a little bit about your background and sort of what the company does?
First of all, I'm an engineer myself. Naama BAK, I'm based here in south of France, where we have the company, and I spent over 15 years in the tech industry. I spent a lot of time on the semiconductor industry with NXP semiconductors. I was driving cybersecurity business development, in particular in the US, and then I spent some time on doing research in security at Orange and IDEMIA. And now created the company 2 years ago called Understand Tech to solve a lot of problems with the semiconductor industry and their ecosystem, in particular sales enablement and all that crap of documentation that we deliver on top of product, which is a huge problem for engineers, support engineers, and system engineering engineers.
So yeah, that's our whole mission here at Embedded Computing Design, is we're trying to make engineers' jobs easier. And it sounds like what you've designed is specifically tailored to that. Not necessarily making their jobs easier on the engineering side, but on the sort of operations and business side. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Sure. And so to help you and the people understand exactly the problem you are solving, I'm going to just tell you my story when I was at NXP. And this is the same for all semiconductor companies. So when you are in the semiconductor space, you are selling to two types of customers, direct customer and mass market. Direct customer, usually they are served directly by the company. You have an EFA engineer assigned, you have an account manager assigned. So you have the full machine assigned to that customer. So no problem. There are some problems in terms of support, but it's fine. The second channel is mass market. People who you don't know, because you are selling through Aero and Future and Avnet and DG and all those distribution. And those distributors, they have engineers that support because they are smaller customers. And so the problem of those semiconductors is how you can support better those mass market customers, which they represent a huge part of your revenue. And it's a mess. Nobody solved this problem because it consumed time. People, they are not available to support somebody who is just ordering 100K unit, but you still need to support that market. So that's why we created like Understand Tech, is to solve that problem. And the way we solve it is we created something called DEP, Distribution Enablement Portal. It's all powered by AI. We take all the semiconductor company products, datasheet, app notes, whatever they have, put it inside, you do your configuration, and then you expose this to the DISTI FAE, the DISTI sales, the people who are going to sell your product. And they come to this portal and they can ask any question about your product. Okay, you're gonna eliminate all those level 1, level 2 questions that the engineer at the semiconductor side they were answering. Then they can generate slide. Hey, I'm meeting this customer ABC, and they need a slide tailored to smart home camera for Matter compliance. Boom, you have your slide right away. Then you are not sure about two parts, one from a semiconductor A and one from semiconductor B, and you want to understand how competitive analysis work. You just ask the portal, and thanks to AI, we have multiple agents, gonna search the internet, gonna search all the data that you need and provide you this. And then last use case, and you may have some questions is tear down. Tear down is huge, is time consuming. You have a DST who is bidding for an opportunity and he need to replace some incumbent chip with new chip from the semiconductor company. The first thing you're going to need to do is to understand what is inside. What is the incumbent chip? And so you're going to go and search on the FCC file and search on a lot of stuff. It takes you sometimes even a month. Now within the platform, the dev, you just put the name of the device, the commercial device, whatever device you have in mind, Tesla wall charger, Honeywell, HMI, whatever. And then automatically after 2 minutes, the platform is going to give you the full teardown. Which microcontroller, which microprocessor, which Wi-Fi, which chip, who is the supplier? And then to close it, here is the strategy how you can replace those with the component from your semiconductor company. So we are not just giving you the teardown, we are giving you the teardown plus the technical strategy, how you can replace those with the narrative. So that's what we have done at Tech.
I mean, that's huge. The idea of not having to do the physical teardown because you can just ask for the results. It's just such a time saver. It's a huge deal. So your goal is to be offering this tool to the disties or to their sort of mass market customers?
Excellent question. And I'm going to just answer based on what we have seen since we created the product. So initially, we created the product just so the buyer is the semiconductor, the users is the disti resources, FA engineer sales. But then what it turned out, those semiconductor company that they started this with us, they said, but the same problem my disti have, meaning answering question, getting slide, tear down, my own sales team, they have those issues. So now they have an internal portal just for their sales team, because that sales team, while addressing focus account, their charter is not to sell one product, it's 100 product, and there is no way that they can know every product. This is a common problem. So now there is an internal, and I think in the future there are some ideas that we get from some customers who said, okay, why we can even give this to end developers, like really the customer, meaning the customer of the disti or the engineers at that Honeywell or that Resideo guys, they can direct access the portal. But we have not developed such a scenario as of now. It's mainly resources within the semiconductor company and resources within the disti.
Yeah. It seems like a really multi-use sort of, I hesitate to call it a research tool. It's really more than that, but it's like, I need the answer about XYZ product. It seems like what you've created is something that can give you that answer without having to go in and buy it.
Some people call it the virtual product marketer. You have your product marketer who is available 24 hours, 7 days, that you would send an email. Can you give me a competitive analysis? Can you give me this slide deck? Can you explain to me this block diagram? Now you have it 24 hours, 7 days available for you and for thousands of other people. And so think about the massive time we are saving for engineers who are supporting those questions and the boost we are giving to the sales guys and sales engineers who are selling to customers.
Now, I know you said that this is entirely powered by AI. How did you train the AI? What's the data set?
The data always come from the product company, so the semiconductor company, and usually the minimum required is data sheets. So that's the minimum required for every product, because data sheets usually contain all the necessary information that we ingest for our LLMs and agent. Then if the customer has like application note, example code, stuff like this, that will enhance more the performance. But definitely data sheet is the data. But there is no pre-training. That's very important. Meaning we are not training LLM, spending $1 billion to do this, and it's custom for our company A. No, it's a horizontal technology, and it's trained live. You create a portal, and in a few minutes, you have the portal fully customized to your product and talk only your product.
Incredible. So you're sort of offering the blank slate muscle, and the end customer then creates and customizes and makes it the tool that they need.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's very cool. Where can I'm sure many folks are going to want to look into what you guys are doing over at Understand Tech. Where can folks find out more about you?
just go to Understand the Tech as the name of the company, and then there is a section within our product dedicated to this product. So it's in a preview, but we start to roll out this at scale after successful deployment at large semiconductor company. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ping me or LinkedIn or directly on the website.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Naama. Folks, make sure you head over to understand.tech, find out more about what they're doing. And while you're crawling around the interwebs, if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, I don't know what you're doing out there. Go ahead and subscribe. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcasting platform, thank you so much. If you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Make sure that you leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of this really cool sort of platform for understanding all of your products out there. And we look forward to hearing from you regardless. Once again, thank you so much to Naama BAK and Understand Tech for being my guest today. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Embedded Insiders. For more daily news, videos, and podcasts, visit our website at embeddedcomputing.com.